You're 43. It's a Tuesday night. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, when your phone lights up with a notification from your banking app. Your checking account just dipped below $1,000 again, and you start doing that quiet mental math. Car payment, mortgage, kids' activities. Somehow, even though you're earning more than ever, you feel more financially trapped than you did a decade ago. Here's the truth about your 40s. This decade doesn't decide how rich you'll be, it decides how calm your future feels. Those are not the same thing. Your 40s are a fork in the road most people never notice. The direction you take now quietly determines whether the next 20 years feel controlled or reactive, whether you wake up at 60 with options or obligations. Most people think building wealth is about making more money. Income matters, but it's not the main variable. Federal Reserve surveys show about half of Americans feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck. That includes high earners. Research from Bank of America shows lifestyle creep is a primary driver of financial stress, even among upper-income households. You buy the house, upgrade the cars, add subscriptions, and suddenly every dollar is committed. That's the paradox of your 40s. You're likely earning more than ever and spending more than ever. The gap between those two numbers determines your future. Picture two paths. Path A looks successful. High income, nice house, 2 newer cars, maybe premium memberships you barely use, but 70 to 80% of your take-home pay is locked into fixed costs. When something breaks, it goes on a credit card. You're not broke, but you're not free. You're operating in what behavioral economists call a scarcity mindset, constantly juggling bills, anticipating the next expense. Path B looks less impressive. Slightly older cars, a house below your maximum approval amount, but there's margin. 20 or 30% of income isn't pre-committed. When an opportunity appears, an investment, a career move, time off, you can say yes. You're not surviving, you're building. The difference between these paths usually isn't income, it's fixed cost decisions made in your 40s. In your 20s and 30s, you had time to recover from mistakes. You could delay saving and still have decades of compounding ahead. You could take career risks and course correct. In your 40s, the math tightens. It's not too late, but resets aren't infinite anymore. Every decision compounds forward with more weight. The S&P 500 has historically returned around 10% annually over the long term, including dividends, but that only matters if you're invested. Vanguard data shows the average 401k balance for Americans in their 40s is roughly $150,000. Meanwhile, surveys from Northwestern Mutual show Americans believe they need about $1.26 million to retire comfortably. That's a massive gap. That gap won't be closed by speculation, it's closed by controlling monthly overhead. Take cars. Experian reports the average new car payment is around $750 per month. Used cars average roughly $530. 2 cars can easily mean $1,400 per month. Over 6 years, that's more than $100,000 in payments. If instead you drove reliable used cars and invested even $700 per month at a 7% real return, you'd have over $100,000 in a decade. One category, one decision. Housing is bigger. Census and Federal Reserve data show the median homeowner with a mortgage spends about 21% of income on housing, but in many areas it's 30 to 50%. The Department of Housing and Urban Development defines spending over 30% as cost-burdened. Millions fall into that category. If you stretched for a house at 38, you may still be paying for that stretch at 68. That extra mortgage payment isn't neutral. It's money that could have been compounding. This isn't about never owning nice things. It's about understanding that in your 40s, these choices create long-term consequences. Financial stress doesn't just hurt your bank account, it changes how your brain works. Behavioral economists Sendhil Mullainathan and Eldar Shafir describe the scarcity mindset. When resources feel insufficient, your focus narrows. You tunnel into immediate problems and lose bandwidth for long-term thinking. If your car breaks down and you have no emergency fund, all your energy goes into solving that crisis. You're not thinking about retirement strategy or career growth, you're trying to survive the week. And scarcity isn't about income alone. Someone earning $150,000 and spending $145,000 can feel the same cognitive pressure as someone earning far less. Financial stress consumes mental bandwidth. It pushes short-term decisions, overborrowing, delaying savings, reacting instead of planning. The real goal in your 40s isn't just more money, it's margin, enough buffer to move from survival mode to growth mode. The Federal Reserve's survey on household economic well-being shows only about 55% of Americans can cover 3 months of expenses with savings. Nearly half are one disruption away from crisis.
An emergency fund doesn't offer high returns in interest, but it offers massive returns in reduced stress and improved decision making. With 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, something shifts. You stop flinching at notifications. You stop lying awake calculating. You gain mental space for career strategy, for calculated risks, for presence with your family. Margin creates leverage. If your job becomes toxic, you're not trapped. If an opportunity requires short-term sacrifice, you can consider it. If you need to invest in yourself, you can. Better financial positioning builds confidence. Confidence supports better decisions. That loop compounds. Now the traps. First, lifestyle creep. Raises turn into expenses. Higher earners often feel the same stress as middle earners because spending scales with income. A practical rule: when you get a raise, direct at least half towards savings or investments before adjusting lifestyle. Second, treating savings milestones as spending triggers. Hitting $50,000 in investments isn't a signal to buy something expensive. Every withdrawal resets compounding. Third, housing upgrades. Equity can tempt you into larger payments for decades. Recent analyses show a median-priced new home often requires around 38% of household income for mortgage payments. Housing has become the single largest wealth-building obstacle for many families. Fourth, car loans. Nearly 20% of new car buyers now take on $1,000 plus monthly payments. Many loans stretch to 84 months. By the time it's paid off, the car is heavily depreciated and the cycle repeats. These aren't moral failures. They're common behaviors in an economy built on consumption. But common doesn't mean optimal. So what should you focus on? Know your savings rate. Not your salary, your percentage saved. Many experts recommend 15% for retirement alone. Many households save under 5%. You don't need perfection tomorrow, but you need awareness. Prioritize reducing fixed costs. A permanent $500 reduction in monthly overhead is equivalent to earning thousands more per year after tax indefinitely. Automate savings. Willpower is unreliable. Systems work. Transfers that happen automatically on payday remove decision fatigue. Think in opportunity costs. A $45,000 car isn't just $45,000. At 7% over 20 years, that's roughly $170,000 in foregone growth. Protect margin aggressively. Margin is more valuable than a higher income without flexibility. Every decision should be evaluated by whether it protects or erodes that buffer. Your 40s are a turning point, not a deadline. You still have time, but the window for easy corrections narrows. Decisions now echo into your 50s and 60s. Stress isn't caused solely by not enough money. It's caused by exposure, by having no cushion between you and the next disruption. Reduce exposure and the future quiets down. You don't need a dramatic overhaul. Small changes compound. Redirect part of a raise. Delay a car upgrade. Refinance or downsize strategically. Increase your savings rate gradually. Each adjustment strengthens your 60-year-old self. Your 40s aren't the end of your financial story. They're the chapter where you decide how stable, flexible, and calm the ending will be.